What's the background history of the farm? How long has it been established for?
Well, the farm was established in 1791 during Washington's first term, and it's been here since then. The Scott family originally began the farm. The Holbrook family purchased it from them and expanded the farm and planted the first commercial orchards in 1911. The last Holbrook gifted the farm to Landmark Trust, which is a historic preservation organization.
And how many acres?
It's just shy of 600 acres, and we have about 40 of that in orchard. Right now we're growing about 125 varieties of old heirloom varieties of apples. And we grow peaches and plums and pears and grapes and medlars and quince and a few other things, pawpaws and figs.
And how long have you been?
I've been here for 17 years so far. When I came here, I grafted, this was a Macintosh orchard, and I grafted the trees to these old varieties of apples. And so during the winter, I prune the trees, shape them. In the spring, I'm planting new trees and taking care of trees that have been planted for just a couple of years. Summer, I'm mowing, and we begin the harvest of some of the stone fruit. And in this time of year, the fall, we're harvesting every day. Since back in August, we're at it 7 days a week, and we'll go another couple of weeks, and then probably sell the last of the fruit in December.
Wow. What's your favorite part of working on the farm?
My favorite part. Sometimes it's when I've found some old variety and I've grafted it into the orchard, and you have to be pretty patient. But when the tree finally produces fruit and we finally pick some and taste it, and it's wonderful, then that's probably one of my best times. Other good times are working with my harvest crew. Some of them have worked with me for 27 years. And other times are when people come here and they haven't ever tried any of these apples, and they taste one of them and go back, maybe come back next week and tell us, oh, that was the best apple I ever had. So those are good times. And in the winter, it's just me and my dog up in the orchard pruning the trees. It's quiet, nothing's breaking down, there are no phone calls, and that sort of recharges my battery.
I believe it. And how many varieties do you guys grow?
125 right now.
Wow.
And I might find a couple more this winter that we'll add next spring.
Pop up.
Yeah.
Could you speak to, or if you've observed, how the farm has evolved or changed over the years? It's a historic landmark.
Well, it was like most orchards in New England, in the Northeast, for many years. They grew Macintosh, harvested it, and then they sent it to a packing house that would process, store, and grade and pack the fruit and sell it for a commission. And that model really wasn't working in the 1980s and 1990s. And so that's when I came along with these other varieties that hadn't been grown for a long time. And it's a niche market. So my formal training is as an ecologist, and so that's how I manage the orchard. I sort of feel as though I'm a shepherd. I have some sheep at home, my home farm, but here I'm the shepherd of trees. And my primary job is to just observe, watch, like you would over a flock of sheep. And the trees are grazing on sunlight. And the other thing I do is everything that I do in the orchard is I'm trying to enhance the biodiversity of the orchard. And that makes a more stable ecosystem, and you have fewer pest problems in a stable ecosystem. So that's my goal. Let the trees graze. Don't mess around with them that much, and they will produce a nice crop of fruit.
Could you give an example as to one or two tools or strategies you have implemented?
Let's see. Yes, we Well, back in the 1970s, there were some entomologists who thought that the way orchards managed pests and diseases was crazy. It made no sense. And they came up with traps to actually monitor whether or not there were damaging insects. And another way to, instead of using chemical sprays, you could trap them or use mating disruption or use pheromone traps to disorient some of these insects that might have been a problem. And so we are using quite a lot of those strategies, and we have we're always willing to work with universities around that want to experiment and try new techniques here. I think that's the way we're going to progress into a more sustainable farming methods. You know, we recognize that we're going to have to find someone. We've had a couple of interns lately, so training new people in these techniques that we use, introducing them to these varieties that aren't commonly, there's, you know, a lot of the knowledge about growing these particular varieties was lost years ago. So trying to train a new generation who might take over.
Do you have community outreach or education programs in place?
Oh, we do quite a lot of education during the summer and especially in the fall. We have school groups, a lot of, let's see, I guess they're called, they used to be called the Elder Hostel, but a lot of older groups come through, and I'll show them about grafting and give them tastes of the different apples and explain what it is that we're doing here. And we have schools and colleges bring students here, so we always have something going on.
Well, it's been so inspiring, and just I feel like such a gift to be able to come out here and to learn from you in person. It's been so wonderful. For our viewers online, could you just give a very high-level explanation of what the grafting process looks like? Oh,
sure. Well, what we do, because you can't grow a golden russet or a Sopa Spitzenberg from seed and get the new tree to produce those same apples. You have to take a cutting. You have to take the exact DNA and splice it onto another apple tree. And so when I came here, I brought my boxes of cuttings with me that I'd collected over the years. And I cut the tops off these Macintosh trees at about waist height, split the trunk with a machete and a hammer, and put 2 twigs on either side of that split so that the cambium, the vascular tissue, matched up with the trunk of the Macintosh trees, and waxed them, and then those began to grow new shoots and a whole new entire top of the tree. So everything from where I cut the Macintosh tree off and put those scions, we call them, in, for the rest of the life of the tree, it's going to produce, instead of Macintosh, it's going to produce Cox's Orange Pippin or Blue Pearmains.
It's such a beautiful fusion between science and art. It really is.
And they've been doing this for a couple of thousand years, so it's an amazing thing when you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks again for having us out here today. Like I said, it's such a treat and really just such an inspiring operation that has been going on
it's
for
nice to have people who
hundreds of years.
Are passionate about fruit to take a walk in the orchard with.
Well, until our next walk around the orchard.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having us again.
Okay, thanks. Okay.